Okay. Well, having owned a business down there for a while, I directed a lot of people to metered parking on King Street as well as to Queen Street as to the parking lots that were available. I really haven't heard any personal complaints because any big city that you go into, like Charleston, South Carolina, you have metered parking on their main streets, but they also have major parking decks. We are in the throes of working with on the plans of a parking deck in downtown Boone, and it is much needed. We are very aware that we do need to solve this problem.
Mr. Davis.
I'm not sure who was elected when that was passed, but what were they thinking? So what I was thinking when this passed, a lot of our downtown businesses on our downtown business committee actually recommended the installation of these meters because they were having folks, spend all day taking up parking. One of the problems with downtown is because there's not enough parking, you really want those spots to turn over with a new customer every hour or two. So once we got the meters put in, we discovered that the traditional Boone 1 hour no metered parking might not have actually been long enough, and from the amount of letters I got, people angry about getting parking tickets when their tire was chopped and they might have stayed a little bit longer than an hour. I think the meters are working better than before, but I would always defer to our downtown business committee what their recommendations are going to be for how long those meters are going to be, or if they want them at all.
Mr. Rasper.
I'm not a big fan of the meters, but looking at it practically, there are some costs now, and we need to do the best we can to make it work. The fact is that I don't think we're going to face the expense, even if the downtown businesses told us they didn't really like them. We're probably not going to tear them out next week and start over again after the investment that's been made. I do think we need their input to see if the timing is correct, if the enforcement is appropriate, and perhaps even revisit the idea we used to have where somebody who bought something out of business, we used to give them sort of a free pass. If you overstayed your ticket a little bit, if you had a receipt, the business could give you an out for avoiding a ticket in that situation. We'd want their input on that as well, but fundamentally I think we're going to have to make the situation work, and the best way to do that will be with input from the businesses that are most affected by it.
Mayor Brandt.
I think it's helping. I think there's more order in the streets because of that, and the income from those meters, which is over $200,000 a year, is going to help build that parking deck. So there's some benefit, I think. One of the problems, though, with, of course, meters is you get a ticket, and it's a big problem to pay the ticket. You have to go down to the town hall. You have to go downstairs and find your way through the cubby holes and find. I think we ought to find a better way to pay parking tickets, maybe online or some other way. I see some. I think it's hard. But it is, I think, helping.
Mr. Pritchard.
And I've had the opposite experience. My office is downtown. I have clients that come in. I have appointments that last over an hour by the nature of the work that I do. They always get tickets. Most of them are low-income people, and they cannot afford the tickets. So I, as a higher income person, get to pay those. And the tickets in Boone are higher than they are in Greensboro, where I also manage to get tickets on a regular basis, which I find kind of a head scratcher. But I think Marshall's right. The meters are here at least for a while. I do have an idea, though, and it may be a flaky idea, but I've been thinking about this. The meters were put in on the pretense or explanation that it was going to help the downtown business community. I've talked to at least 3 businesses that are relocated out of downtown because the parking was so bad and they couldn't get their customers in since the meters were put in. What I'd like to see is that we institute a program where when a person gets a ticket, if the individual then goes, and the tickets are $15, if the person goes and spends $10 at one of the local businesses, and or maybe a participating business, and they send their receipt in with the ticket, they get $5 knocked off the ticket. And by doing that, it does reduce the amount of income coming into town, but it creates an incentive for people to get something for nothing, or not something for nothing, but instead of just losing the $15 entirely, they basically have a $5 off coupon at a store, and they can go to a restaurant or a store. It shouldn't apply to lawyers.
Ms. Homer.
That's interesting you asked about the meters, because when they first put them in, I think they were like 20 minutes. You had 20 minutes, and people would go in the restaurant, eat, and sit, come out, and they have a ticket. And they said it took them longer to get the food, to eat it at the restaurant. So it is good that they changed the time frame. They changed the time frame. But the other thing is, I think Marsha and Sam are right. They're here, so we need to figure out what to do with them. I do think that if we didn't have, due to that fact, I've seen people fight over spots, literally. So we don't need any more road rage in this little town. I'm gonna park this car, you better move that into your car, and this car, they're literally doing that. So that's why the meters did help. So I think they do help a little bit, but my issue with that is like you said, paying for it, it's just expensive to do that. But I like the initiative.
All right, we'll